Right. So in the previous session we have seen about input-output statements. So in that we have seen about reading data from keyboard, right? Read statement. So I seen about let's say if you are reading a set of variables, if everything is written in a single line, it will wait for input in a single line. So during execution, it will wait for, let's say here you are trying to read 3 variables. So the control will wait for reading 3 variables in a single line. Okay, so if not found, then it will go to next line, right? So if you write or if you split this into 3 parts, so what happens? So here it reads only one variable in the first line, and even if you enter 3 or 4 variables, it will skip that. It reads one variable and this command will terminate. Control goes to next line. So here it will read 2 variables. If not found, it will go to next line. Okay. So that is the criteria here. And what are the separation symbols? Comma is allowed. Space. New line, tab. These are the allowed separation symbols. Semicolon is considered as a character. Semicolon or colon are considered as characters, so it will give an error. So this will not work. These are the separation symbols. So next one, write statement. This also works in a similar fashion. So if you write everything in a single line, it will be printing everything in a single line. So if you want to separate them into different lines, you have to write them separately in different lines. Okay. So here now the point to discuss here is these 2 stars. What do they stand for? So here the first star stands for location. The first star stands for location and the second star stands for format. So where from you are reading or writing this data? So the default location for reading data is keyboard. And the address assigned for that is 5. So instead of star, if you put 5, that works. And the default location for write statement is monitor. The address assigned for that is 6. So if you write 6 comma star ABC, it will print onto the monitor. And if you write any address, any other address, you have to specify its location. Like any file, if you want to write into a file, you have to give some ID to that file, some number. You have to assign some number to that file and write that particular number here. Okay, so that we will see whenever we need, whenever we go through that file operations. So now 5 is reserved for keyboard and 6 is reserved for monitor. Okay, just try that once using this 5 and 6. So let's say, so start with this implicit none. integer ABC, and you are assigning directly values to that. A is 2, B is 3, C is 4. Otherwise, I mean, you want to read some data from keyboard, right? So, read 5 comma star, enter 3 numbers. Then it will write to, sorry, so this instruction should be printed onto monitor, right? So it is write statement 6 comma star, enter 3 numbers. So then read statement, read 5 comma star, A comma B comma C. So write statement output comes onto monitor, enter 3 numbers. Then it reads ABC from the keyboard. Then it will write again onto the monitor. Program name em pedtaru? RW location. So end program RW location. So now, so default location for keyboard is 5, default location for monitor is 6. So here the star in read statement refers to location 5 and star in write statement refers to 6. Okay, the second star stands for format statement. I mean how to read data or how to write data. Like if you are reading integers, what is the length of, what are the number of digits in the given integer, or if you are dealing with real numbers, how many digits are there before decimal and after decimal can be precisely controlled. If it is beyond the defined limits, it will give an error. Okay, so we can precisely control the data using this format statement, so that we will see later. So now comes a doubt here. Let's say if I write in the same program, if I write enter your name, what happens? So I'm defining 3 integers, I'm writing a statement, enter your name, I'm trying to read ABC variables and writing those ABC variables. So the right statement here is enter your name, and the next statement is read 3 variables. ABC అనే వేరియబుల్స్ ని రీడ్ చేయమని అంటున్నాము. వాట్ ఆర్ దోస్ వేరియబుల్స్? ఏబిసి ఏంటంటే అసలు బై డెఫినేషన్ దే ఆర్ ఇంటీజర్స్. కాబట్టి ఇంటీజర్ ఇన్పుట్ వస్తే కానీ అక్కడ రీడ్ అవ్వదు. ఆ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవ్వాలంటే ఇట్ ఎక్స్పెక్ట్స్ ఇంటీజర్ ఇన్పుట్స్. మనం ఇక్కడ ఏమన్నాము ఎంటర్ యువర్ నేమ్ అన్నాం. అంటే ఏమవుతుందంటే ఈ స్టేట్మెంట్ ఈజ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటెడ్ ఇండిపెండెంట్లీ, అండ్ ఇక్కడ మనము ఈ రైట్ స్టేట్మెంట్లో మనం ఏం రాసినా కానీ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆఫ్ నో మ్యాటర్. దాని పర్పస్ ఏం లేదు, ఆ యూజర్కి అర్థం అవడానికి మనం ఇస్తున్నటువంటి ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ అంతే. సో ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ రాంగ్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్ ఇట్ డస్ వాట్ ఎవర్ రిటర్న్ అవుట్ దేర్, అక్కడ ఉన్నది ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది అంతే తప్ప దానికి ఇక్కడ రీడ్ స్టేట్మెంట్కి సంబంధం లేదు. అంటే నేను ఇక్కడ నేమ్ ఎంటర్ చేయమన్నాను, నంబర్స్ని రీడ్ చేయమంటున్నాను, దర్ ఇస్ నో కనెక్షన్. సో దానికి దీనికి సంబంధం లేదండి. సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు బి కేర్ఫుల్. సో ఇక్కడ రీడ్ స్టేట్మెంట్ వర్క్స్ ఓన్లీ ఫర్ ఇంటిజర్స్ ఇన్ దిస్ కేస్. సో ఈ ముందేం రాసినా కానీ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇండిపెండెంట్, అదొకటి మనం అర్థం చేసుకోవాలి. ఓకేనా? అంటే నేను ఇక్కడ నేమ్ అని రాశాను, ఆ తర్వాత వేరే ఇంకోటి ఏదో రీడ్ చేస్తున్నాను, అదర్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ వేరియబుల్ రీడ్ చేస్తున్నాను అంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ అవర్ ఫాల్ట్. అండ్ ఎంటర్ యువర్ నేమ్ అన్నారు అండ్ యు ఆర్ ఎంటరింగ్ ఇంటీజర్స్, ద ప్రోగ్రామ్ వర్క్స్. ఐ మీన్ ఇట్ జస్ట్ బ్లైండ్లీ ఫాలోస్ ద ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ గివెన్ అంతే. అంతే తప్ప నేను నేమ్ అన్నాను, ఇక్కడ ఇంటీజర్స్ రీడ్ చేస్తున్నాను, మధ్యలో ఏం జరుగుతుంది అంటే నథింగ్, ఇట్ జస్ట్ బ్లైండ్లీ ఫాలోస్ ద ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్స్. ఓకే, సో అనదర్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ write statement is print. Print star comma ABC. So instead of write, use this. Otherwise add that also in addition. So here it is, enter 3 numbers. Add this line also, print star comma ABC. So this write statement and print statement works in the same fashion. So only thing is you don't need to specify the location. So this star stands for format. Okay. So here the print statement takes a default location. So if you are using a file, the recent default location will be considered. So that we'll see precisely in file operations. So when you are opening multiple files and writing into those files simultaneously, in that case print statement works in a comfortable fashion. The only issue is it considers the latest default location. So in the series of the program, somewhere if you open a file, it writes into that file. If you close the file and open a new file, it writes into that new file. So you don't need to specify that particular location. So you have to be more careful while using this print statement. So write statement precisely asks for the location of that writing location. Here it won't ask, it will see the previous location and writes into that location. So latest location. So what is the last location? It will be considering that location. So details about this format statement and the second star in read write statements and the star and print statement it will be seen later, and we'll go into the next topic, these mathematical operations. Operators in FORTRAN. So there are a set of mathematical operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication. Addition is plus, subtraction is minus, multiplication is star, division is slash, and double star stands for power. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and power. Let's say if you want to write 2 square or 3 cube, that is double star. Comparison operators. Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, equal to, comparison or assignment. Let's say you are writing C is equal to A plus B. It is an assignment operation. So next one is double equal stands for comparison operator. I mean, if you want to compare two numbers are equal or not, kind of, it will be double equal. So next one, logical operators. Dot and dot. So these are the basic logical operators we will be using, and some others are also there. Not. So that we will see later. And all these operations can be written in terms of text, like LT, GT, dot GT dot, LE dot GE dot EQ. So these are things we need to use when the operands are logical. So if you are comparing two numbers, you have to use this symbol. If you are comparing two logical entities, you have to use this dot LT or dot GT dot. So this is for numbers. This is for logical operands. So now we will see the effect of this division operation, especially while dealing with integers and real numbers. Okay, so here I am not using implicit null precisely. I am not using implicit null. So the variables defined are variables not defined. I mean, by default, FORTRAN considers ijk element as integers and others as real numbers. So what happens in that case, we need to see. And in mathematical operations, integers are represented without decimal points, and if you put a decimal point next to a number, it is considered as real number. So now I am considering this. Let's say a is equal to 2. So it will be considered as a real number even if I don't use 2 point. B is 5. M is 3. N is 7. And I am defining a real number. K is 4.0. L is 9.0. So I am not defining any variable here. So by default, these will be considered as real numbers. This will be integers. This will be integer. But I am giving a real number as I am assigning a real number to that. So I want to see whether it gives an error or not. Okay. So now I am going for a calculation. Write star comma star b by a n by m l by k. I am going for a mathematical calculation. So here b by a real number division, n by m an integer division, l by k unknown. What will it consider is unknown. Will it be considered as a real number division or integer division? Should be observed. So here the result is, let's say 7 by 3. What do you get? So 5 by 2 real number division. You should get 2.5. The result is a real number. So here it is 2. Integer division. I mean, the output will be only an integer. Integer part of the result will be considered. Here, unknown. Either you have to get some 2.25 or 2 or a complete error. It should be seen. So you have to use end group. So when you are not giving any name to the program, you don't need to specify any name here. So here the output is 2. So here you are defining or giving inputs as an integers without any decimal points. Still it is considering them as real numbers. By default definition of this. And mn are considered as integers. You are giving inputs as integers. Result is an integer. Here k and l by definition are integers. Even though you are giving real numbers as input, it is taking only integer part. Try this also. Let's say give some .9 as input. Check what will it consider. So if it rounds it off to 5, you should get result as 1. If it considers only the integer part, you should get 2. So what does that mean? You're getting a result of 2. So it is not rounding it off. It considers only the integer part. So whatever number that exists after decimal will be simply ignored. So that's about implicit none and effect of implicit none on mathematical operations. So rest of the details we will see in the next session.